what's up? Welcome to another build guide. So because I am uploading and updating lots of Path of Buildings and builds right now, I tried to keep this video short maybe, and that's why I put lots of clips at the start of the video. So I will just focus on the build in Path of Building, try to do that quick, alright? Because it's only been like, we only got like 2 days left for the league. That's why this is gonna be a maybe shorter video if I can do that, alright? So this is a build that you can play at a league start, but this version is an energy shield version. That's why you have to play as a live version at first, because you have to get some core items like Chevron's wrappings, Presence of Chayula, Prism Guardian, alright? These are gonna be your core items. We are gonna take a look at them in a second. But I haven't prepared a live talent tree yet. Maybe I will do that, I am not sure. You can just start as any Saboteur or maybe another Shadow build, get the required items, the core, uniques, whatever, and start maybe playing this build. So I'm not gonna try to, you know, lead you in a league starter position. You can just start as a Saboteur Seismic Trap that is super ridiculously powerful, and then later on maybe transition into this. So I'm not gonna try to do a league start version, you know. But if lots of people ask for it, maybe I will prepare a leveling tree for life base. Because Icicle mine actually got nerfed a couple of leagues ago. It's still fine, obviously, with some decent investment. And if you know what you are doing actually, because most people do not even know how this build works right now. No one played this in Expedition as a Saboteur. People usually play this for Deli pushing, but they are like squishy 1 HP builds. This is nothing to do with that. So no one actually knows how to play this build right now. That's why I decided to make this build guide, because the build is still super powerful and no one plays for some reason. So we are gonna just let's first explain the gems, because there are some important stuff. Later on the items, and we are gonna continue with that. Let's just start. So a skill mine is a projectile AoE called, just read the tags already. Spell, mine, skill. This is already a mine on its own, so you don't need to use like a blast chain, mine support or whatever. So this is already a mine. So this was a very popular skill once they first added it to the game. I even played that at that league. I believe it was Blight League. And I played it in hardcore, and my character is still alive, by the way. I haven't deleted that character. I used that to kill Shaper and bosses, something like that, in hardcore. A super fun build. I haven't actually played it again because it was a broken build. They just nerfed it. It right now shoots 6 projectiles. Yeah, 4 projectiles. It was like 6 projectiles, I believe. But later on in Heist League, they added other quality, you know, alternate quality gems. And they added again 2 additional projectiles. Actually, the nerf got reversed, and most people didn't even notice that. So that's actually why this build is still the same right now after the Heist League, and it's been lots of mounts and no one played this. So in the end, you want an anomalous Icicle mine. Try to get that as soon as possible once it is online, because this provides huge DPS and also clear speed for that 2 additional projectile. So obviously this is a mine build, so I'm using a trap and mine damage support. Anomalous is fine, but you don't need to rush it. It just reduces the reservation, because once you throw your mines, you will notice that your mana actually gets reserved. That's why you need a good mana pool. Do not try to reserve all of it. I had something like 300 mana, I believe, but after the changes, the talent tree changes, I right now have even more mana left for some reason. So even easier to sustain your mana after the 3.16 talent tree changes. So make sure you have at least 200 mana maybe left, so you can reserve those mines on the ground before the boss gets activated or something like that. Because mostly on endgame bosses, you can just prepare your mines before the boss even gets spawned, you know, in like Conqueror or a Sirus. That's why that reservation actually helps. So you can actually ready, you know, prepare more mines on the ground. So an anomalous quality in the end helps for that. Because this is a cold build, cold penetration, if you have the budget later on, awakened obviously. Inspiration for elemental damage per charge also reduces the mana cost. That's why I picked that. Inspiration actually, there are actually better gems compared to inspiration. If you think that the mana cost is fine, skip inspiration, use something else. But I enjoyed playing with this, that's why I went for that. Because normally you throw your mines one at a time. You want to use a minefield support, so you can throw up to 4 additional mines at the same time. This is a very important gem. This should be on your 5 link. So if you want to play this build as 5 link, probably skip crit damage. Alright, if you are at a 5 link, this is probably better. Or maybe skip inspiration if you think that a mana cost is fine. But in the end, this is how your 6 link is gonna be, crit damage. So you're gonna ask, why is this here? This is not ticked, by the way. I'm not using this right now. This is a 6 link, alright? While mapping, I actually swap these gems. Because charge mines, I believe, is better for mapping, because it provides the throw speed per frenzy charge and also lets you generate frenzy and power charges. That's why this is better, so you can actually use mines faster. But I believe I also used this in some of the end game bosses, but not sure right now. You can just check the video again. If you see any frenzy charge on the upper left, that means that I am playing with charge mines. So if you think that additional throw speed is better for you, just play with charge mines all the time. If you think your DPS is enough, make sure you also tick frenzy charges here, because you can also generate them once you have that. As you can see, we got some decent throw speed thanks to the support gem. You can even invest in frenzy charges on the talent tree to make the build even faster. Something like this maybe. Alright, so you get the idea. Charge mines in the end is better for some scenarios and better for mapping for sure. But this was my main setup. Auras. Core item is obviously Prism Guardian, because it lets you reserve auras in this shield from your life instead. So this is a low life inner shield build. We don't need any life at all. We are just gonna reserve all of them. This is an inner shield build. With the changes, I even got more inner shield for some reason. The new talent tree, I believe, is better compared to the previous one, because I had like 7.1k inner shield. Just check the videos if you want. Just check the clips. But right now I have more than 7.5k. So this is even better after the changes. The build actually got buffed, I believe, in terms of inner shield and defense. So you want to use your auras in this and reserve from life instead. Discipline provides inner shield. You can get a wall one and press it whenever you want if you think you are in danger, because it actually, where's that modifier? No, not that. Cast a temporary aura that prevents inner shield recharge being delayed by damage. So you can use that. Haters for cold damage and Zealotry for spell damage. So these are your core auras and they need to be in this shield. Moving on to the Arcanist brand setup. So Sniper Mark is my curse choice, but it requires lots of dexterity. So if you have maybe lower dexterity, if you couldn't min-max your character, simply use a lower level one. You will lose some DPS, but that's not the end of the world. In the end, eventually you will fix that dexterity issue. So this is a projectile skill, that's why I use this. You can maybe also go for Assassin Mark with a lower budget gear, because that will also provide some decent DPS. That is another Mark curse, so that's why that's gonna be also powerful. So because this provides projectile damage, that's why Sniper Mark is better in the end. This is an Arcanist brand setup, meaning that you need to attach your Arcanist brand to the boss. You just need to do that on bosses, by the way, map boss or end game bosses. The brand actually will cast the other spells attached to it. So you just want to put your brand before the boss gets activated, or if the boss is already there, just put your brand and start doing whatever you are doing. Throw your mines. This brand will automatically apply Sniper Mark and Frost Bomb. So Frost Bomb applies cold exposure, minus 15 cold resistances. That's why we are using that. By the way, Path of Building right now didn't get update for the gems. After the changes, actually Awaken Cold Penetration will also provide exposure chance. So maybe you can skip Frost Bomb, but that's gonna be like 10% chance, I believe, something like that. Maybe having a Frost Bomb is gonna be a guaranteed way to get that damage bonus as soon as possible. But maybe you can skip Frost Bomb after the changes if you think anything else is better for Arcanist brand setup. But this is how I played. It's gonna be a 3 link. You can put it on in your wand or anywhere else, but I put that in my wand actually. So rest of the buffs, we already reserved buffs from our life, but obviously we can also reserve some buffs from our mana. That's why this is a mana reserve setup. Herald of Ice for cold damage. Skitter bots, because it is good for trap and mine builds, 10% more trap and mine damage. They also detonate your mines, actually. They do those kind of stuff, so they are good for that also. And they also shock and chill the enemy. We already chill, but the shock actually helps because it provides 17% damage. So this is a good buff. Because chill effect also provides DPS. Where is that? Enemies shielded by support skills take cold damage taken by chill effect. That's why we are also using bone chill and let skitterbots chill even more and also get some damage bonus. This is a good way to get, a clever way to get additional DPS. As you can see, we got some decent DPS. This is actually very nice. By the way, this DPS is only for one mine. Our DPS is not 1 million. We have more than 10, maybe 20 million, depending on how fast you can throw your mines, depending on how many seconds you can stand still, or stuff like that, alright? So this is only the DPS for one mine, alright? So this is a good DPS, obviously at the cost of more reservation, which is not an issue because we have plenty mana left. Finally, Enlighten. Again, after the changes, for some reason I have more mana left, so you can easily go for even 2, maybe like skip it entirely. You don't even need the Enlighten, guys. This is even more than enough. Because check the clips at the start, I probably have something like 250 mana, I believe. That's how I played. But right now, even without Enlighten, we have close to 300 with high level character, obviously. So you can maybe skip Enlighten or use a lower level. Let's just put a level 3 right now because 4 is just pointless. You don't need that extra mana. Let's play with a 3 level instead. And that is more than enough and saves you a lot of exalted. Mobility skill, Flame Dash for mobility. I'm using Anomalous because it provides travel distance. That is very important in my opinion. I highly suggest that. Second Wind with another Anomalous for 1 cooldown use. I like that. You can skip that if you want. Finally, Arcane Surge. Divergent actually provides extra 2 seconds. That's why that is important if you want, you know, min-max the build. So Arcane Surge is a buff that provides more spell damage. You need to lock it at an exact level. So your Flame Dash actually spends the exact mana, yeah, more or less. So you want to use, because Arcane Sword gets activated once you spend that mana. It right now says 51 mana. So my Flame Dash must consume more than 51. So whenever I press a single Flame Dash, I need to get that Arcane Surge. I don't want to use 2 Flame Dashes for only one to get, you know, to activate Arcane Surge. You need to make sure that your Flame Dash actually activates Arcane Surge whenever you press it. So depending on your mana cost, depending on your level, whatever, make sure maybe you use a lower level Arcane Surge because it will actually require less mana. So maybe if your Flame Dash is lower level, because it will cost lower mana. So at 20 level, this is probably how it worked, but maybe after the changes, maybe I made a mistake. Let's also check that. Mobility Flame Dash. Yes, it provides, it costs 59 mana and Arcane Surge wants 51 mana. So it is fine. I can just proc this whenever I press Flame Dash. So it works. Make sure that your mana cost is higher than this desired mana cost. So you can just activate it every time you press it. Finally, the rest of the auras. Yes, we have lots of auras. So first of all, Arrogance support to reserve even more life because we, yes, reserved some auras from our life, but we still have a little bit life left. That's why we are using an Arrogance and some Clarity and Precision. Clarity helps with the mana regeneration. I actually haven't tried playing without Clarity, but it actually provides some decent regeneration, so maybe it works. I just, you know, socketed these in and played like that, and I was like, okay, this is fine, I will play the build like this. I haven't even tried playing without a Clarity, so maybe it doesn't even, you know, matter that much. Maybe this mana regeneration is also enough, I'm not sure. You can check that. If that works, get a higher level precision instead. Make sure you have enough unreserved life. By the way, for some reason, our reservation got changed, not sure what happened. I'm not sure right now. Weird. Because no, maybe this was like this. I'm really confused right now. Maybe this, yeah, let's just have a higher level precision. Okay, this seems better because it still works. Let's just do something like this. All right, we just want lower health as possible because we don't want any HP. So just push those precision and clarity levels from your Arrogance support. and just reserve all of that life. We don't need that. Finally, Righteous Fire, a Val Righteous Fire for that DPS cooldown. Just press it whenever you feel safe, because it will just delete some of your energy shield for a second, but you can easily generate it in a second, because this build has so much regeneration. And that's pretty much it. Press it when you want some big DPS cooldown, but be careful while using that. So let's check the items, and I will explain how to craft or what you should buy. Because this is a low life build, the core items are Prism Guardian, so you can actually reserve your life for cheaper. That's how we reserve those gems, auras that I just mentioned. So make sure you get this and put those auras in this. This is a very cheap helmet, by the way. You can even find this fairly, at league start, because once people start killing Sirus, this is a drop from Sirus. This is super cheap. I actually wanted to. This is also a common drop, alright. I just wanted to make the build more affordable because I used some luxury upgrades. Obviously, this is an endgame version right now. That's why this is actually like a 1 chaos, 5 chaos helmet. With the enchant, it is like 40-50 chaos, less than an Exile, because no one plays Icicle Mine. You can also get another enchant. Icicle Mine also has throw speed enchant, I believe. That can also be better if you want to be faster. Or if you have any mana reservation issue, put a reservation enchant instead. So why are we using this helmet? It provides lots of transfiguration bonuses. If I don't forget, I will just put those, the descriptions on the screen right now. But if you just check the helmet in the Gamepedia website, it already shows you what they provide. So that's why I am using this for some extra damage and inner shield and defense, those kind of stuff. A rare helmet in the end is better, but you need to craft that obviously. But it is obviously gonna be more expensive. That's why this was one of those cheaper pieces, and I just went for that effective item. If you want a better helmet, Hubris Circlet, and craft something that has good inner shield and also has maybe Redeemer influence. Nearby enemies have -9 cold resist that will provide some good DPS, and the helmet also gonna provide more inner shield. If you can craft a good one, more than maybe 300 inner shield, that's gonna be even a better helmet. I don't have one right now here, but I will just add something after the video. You can just also check that if you want a better helmet in the end. Another core item, Sharron's Wrappings. This is a common item, everyone uses this. You can find this easier even at a league start, but maybe it can be a little expensive, I'm not sure. So to just play as a life saboteur something, maybe Seismic Trap, or maybe Ball Lightning Miner, Arc Miner. I'm not sure about Icicle Miner, I haven't tried that at a league start. Once you get these low life items, just start playing as Icicle Mine, alright? So because this provides chaos damage, does not bypass energy shield, that's how you survive against chaos damage. So you can reserve all your life. This is a core item, otherwise you will die to chaos damage instantly, because we have only like 20 life left. Normally chaos damage bypasses energy shield. That's why this is a core item. You need to buy it before playing this build. Because most people do not even play these kind of trap mine builds. In the end, you can also invest in for some good corruptions like +2 socketed trap mine gems, or even go big, +2 AoE, and also maybe projectile, because the skill also has projectile tag. Also it +1 gems, that also works. So get a combination that have 2 of them, or maybe like only 1 of them depending on your budget. This was actually super cheap considering this is a huge chest piece, provides +4. I actually bought this for 10 Exalt as 6 linked. Yes, because no one plays these kind of builds. So maybe you can skip a snipe one, or get different combinations. Again, projectile gem also works. So get a good corruption one in the end, because that will provide huge DPS. And another core item, Presence of Chayula, another unique. So this provides cannot be stunned, lots of chaos resistances, and life convert to inner shield, even more inner shield actually. So this is how you are stun immune, very important. In the end, to min max you can get a corrupted one. Hatred aura effect is super nice, you can go for that. Or maybe +1 curse if you really want that, but this was very cheap, that's why I picked Hatred aura effect, because it provides additional DPS. For the Annoyant I picked Doomcast. That is here, you can actually get this for only like 3 points, but my tree is already 98 level, this is the highest thing that I went for. I will prepare a lower level, by the way, don't worry, maybe like 92 level talent tree, because most people struggle after some point. But if you know what you are doing, you can level for higher, you know. But there are going to be more talent trees here, maybe for lower levels, don't be afraid. But in that, maybe you can get Doomcast and anoint something else, but this was providing the best damage, that's why I anointed this. You can do something like this, you know, total deep, no, not here. Let me just also show you that. Where's that? Presence of Chayula, Anoint. For example, I want Energy Shield maybe. Just find Energy Shield here. Oh, boom. It, why? Yeah, 10% regeneration life. That's gonna also get converted. Yeah, sounds good. So if you want Energy Shield, these are your options, it seems. Maybe if you want total DPS, bam. Alright. I don't know why it shows this. This is probably bugged because this doesn't provide DPS. Doomcast, Annihilation. So it will just show you what gives the most DPS, because I sorted them by DPS. So just anoint something else if you want, and that is how you do that. So these were the core pieces. You must buy these before starting playing this build. Let's just finish rest of the pieces. I am playing with a wand. You can play with a scepter because they also provide elemental damage on the implicit, so it doesn't matter in the end. So a scepter or a wand for the base type. Good stats are spell damage percentage or good percentage cold damage. Flat cold damage to spells. I don't have that. It is also good. +1 cold spell or all spell gems. So plus gem, alright, that is super important. Crit multiplier or crit chance, or all of them at the same time, depending on your budget. If you can snipe for some good fracture bases like this had fractured 100% crit strike chance. So fractured items actually cannot lose that fractured modifier. In this case, it is crit strike chance for spells, no matter what you do. So it is actually easier to craft on those. Just snipe a good scepter base or a wand that provides good spell damage as a fracture, crit strike chance, global multiplier, maybe +1 gems, that's gonna be even better. And use essences, maybe cold fossils, frigid fossils. Use some different crafting methods to craft something like this in the end. Because if you want to buy like something like this, maybe it's gonna cost you like 5 exalt, but maybe 10 exalt if they don't exist on the market. But if you can just snipe a good fracture base for like maybe 1 exalt, maybe 2 exalt, with like a couple of exalt worth of essences, you can just craft the same thing. I always do that. You can even make profit, by the way. And that's how you craft, or just buy it from someone else. Again, those are the good stats. On one of your rare items, we have another buff, actually, Aspect of Spider. I put it on my wand because it had open suffix. On one of your rare items, it can be a gloves, boots, or ring, or belt. We have plenty of rare items. You need to put Aspect of Spider. You need to get Venomous Beast from someone else. If you don't have that, go to Menagerie, put that item on the bench, kill the spider and the other beasts, and the item will have Aspect of Spider buff. You also need to write 3 stacks here, so it calculates what it does. So Aspect of Spider just lowers the move speed of the monsters and also increases the damage taken by 15%, I believe. So in that, it slows the enemies and provides some decent DPS. Again, you can just put it on any rare item suffix. The item must have an open suffix, alright? Rest of the items, glows, damage against shield enemies, that's a good way to get some good DPS. Put some resistances, and dexterity is very important. Also try to get an energy shield base. Try to push that energy shield, but this is one of those places that you can easily get dexterity. Also a ring, because this build mostly will need dexterity thanks to that sniper mark curse. One other gloves, I actually tried this in 3.15, but right now I will just explain what happened. Machina bits, no one uses this, super cheap. Damage dealt by your mines is leech to you as life. You can convert that leech to energy leech with Ghost River. I actually tried that, it is very nice, but Ghost River got nerfed in 3.16 right now in Scourge League, because it says cannot recharge energy shield. It just completely destroys your recharge. So if you think you don't need recharge, you can still regenerate, by the way, and also leech thanks to the glows. You can simply try these glows, alright? If you think the healing is better, without the recharge, go for that. But right now it blocks your recharge, that's why I don't recommend it, because I haven't tried it. I need to try it in Scourge League. I will probably won't play a minor build, so I cannot do that. You need to try it and maybe make a comment, alright? And that's pretty much it about that. Try Machinamids or not, but again you have to get Ghost River, otherwise it won't work, because it says Leech Energy Shield instead of Life. So you need to convert that Life Leech to Energy Shield instead. Just go for a rare gloves, it's gonna be easier, alright? Boots, resistances, movement speed, energy shield, that's pretty much it. Mine didn't even have that much energy shield because I wanted to put chill and frozen immune. That's a good way to skip a freeze immunity flask, which is gonna be a huge quality of life improvement. So in the end your boots should have chill and frozen immune. You can try to do that if you want to skip that freeze and chill immunity stuff. This is already a saboteur, so we are already immune to shock and ignite. That way we can also be immune to freeze and chill, so we don't get affected by any ailments at all. For the rings, Mark of Shaper, this is a drop from Uber Elder. It's gonna be a little expensive at league start because it is a boss drop, but after like 2 weeks it's gonna be super cheap. This provides huge spell damage if your other ring is an Elder item. It needs to be an Elder influence item. We are gonna take a look at that in a minute. Other than that, energy shield and some damage to spell. It's gonna be lightning, but it works. It still provides some good DPS. Also elemental damage on the implicit. So huge DPS if your other ring is an Elder item. So your other ring must be a rare Elder influenced ring. You can just find something easily on the market. They just exist all the time after a couple of days in a new league, obviously, because this is an influenced item. So just a rare ring that provides dexterity, energy shield, resistances, one final stat. You can also snipe for one. On Elder bases you can get spell and attacks fire damage. So why do we want this? Do you really need this? You can put fire damage to spells to somewhere else like an Abyss Jewel, but this way it is cheaper, alright, and saves you more DPS actually, because if you put that on an Abyss Jewel you will probably lose some DPS because you will miss some good, maybe other jewel, something like that. Because on Elder bases this exists, I tried to get something like this. So this is your min-max item. Why do we want that fire damage to spells and attacks? We want to ignite the target, and why is that? Because this is normally a cold build, we don't have any fire damage, but that way you can actually get some fire damage and also ignite the enemy. If you also ignite the enemy, you will get crit multiplier against burning enemies from saboteurs, explosive expert, ascendancy point. So actually this here, that fire damage to spells and attacks actually provides 40% crit multiplier on top of that. So yeah, that's how to min-max that, because this provides super DPS, you know, a lot of DPS. And that's about the rings, super important. Finally, a belt. Crystal belts are good because they provide insane energy shield. Crusader bases also has increased maximum energy shield, so in the end your belt should provide lots of energy shield. Flat maximum, increased maximum, all of them at the same time, depending on your budget. Maybe energy shield recovery rate, they all exist on the same base type. You can craft these with dance fossil spamming, just single socket resonator, dance fossil spam. And also try to get some maybe resistances. This doesn't even provide any DPS, we just want to be tankier. If you want DPS, maybe get different belts, maybe a Stygian vise, and also use an Abyss Jewel in that. But this way you can push that energy shield even higher. Let's take a look at the flasks. And I believe a little bit of talent tree, and that's gonna be it. So this is a crit build, that's why a diamond flask. We are already immune to all elements if you have a similar boots. If you don't have this kind of boots yet, use one of your magic flasks must remove freeze and chill, alright? You must put that. You can put it on your diamond flask or maybe on your quicksilver flask, alright? There are plenty of sources. So diamond flask provides crit strike chance. You can also put increased effect and put crit strike chance during flask effect, those kind of stuff to have super, you know, crazy amounts of crit strike chance from only one flask. That's a good way to get some huge DPS. For defense, granite flask, Rumi's concoction for some armor, and block. This is a block build. I tried to get some block on the talent tree as well. Jade flask to be even tankier if you want. You can also use an Atziri's promise unique flask. Let's see if that is still here. Yeah, Elemental damage as extra chaos damage, and also provides some chaos resistances while it is, active. So it is fine, but doesn't provide that much DPS, because this flask actually got nerfed real hard in 3.15. So it is a very weak flask right now, but that is something that you can consider. So that's why I ended up using more defensive flasks, and that should be better. You must have a bleed immunity flask somewhere also, that is super important. You can also use a regular sulfur flask if you still don't have a battle fade. This is your min-max item, provides huge DPS, loss of crit strike chance, and increased damage taken. So a battle fade in the end, definitely worth the investment. Obviously if you don't have that, use another defensive flask maybe. Quartz flask also works because it provides right now suppress, I believe, after the changes. Just use something that you want, alright? But diamond flask, rumi, quicksilver, these three are your core flasks. Quicksilver finally, movement speed. Again, you can put freeze or bleed immunity on this or on this. Alright, just make sure you are immune to freeze and bleed. Also maybe curse. But after the changes in 3.15, in my opinion, curse immunity is a waste of slot. Because, yes, that's simply how I play. If you want to also remove curses, obviously go for a curse flask also. That's pretty much it about the flasks. Finally, talent tree. While leveling this character, if you just want to go for Icicle mine ASAP, if you think you are a good player, you should probably get this first maybe for that additional throw speed. Or you are also gonna use Skitterbot, so this also works, Explosive Expert. Later on, probably Pyromaniac, or maybe get this at first because this is the main source of healing for miners and trappers. So probably leave Blind for the last, These three should be the first things that you need to get. Finally, Blind. That's probably how I would play. For the talent tree, let's take a look. Obviously, it got changed a lot. I will just mention the masteries and the important stuff. So there are lots of energy shield nodes here. They are almost the same. This actually got a little different after the changes, but still works. We have energy from within here. Increase and reduction to life, instead transform to energy shield. So these are actually gonna be energy shield. Path of building cannot show them, but as you can see, this jewel here provides some decent energy shield because it actually converts these life nodes to energy shield actually. So this is the place that you need to put this. Let's just check the jewels first, alright? That probably makes more sense. A thread of hope here with large ring, alright? That needs to have large on it. There are different sizes actually, medium, small, very large. You need to buy a large one with the lowest, actually the highest resistances possible, because it goes to -20, that is the lowest roll. You don't want that. Try to get a good one so you can actually cap your resistances easier. This way we can get Heart of Ice, cold damage and penetration. Essence Surge, I believe this is new because I'm not sure. Energy Shield and recharge rate. Faster recharge rate actually. Arcane Focus, Energy Shield and Intelligence. So some DPS and defense. Actually, this provided more stuff before the talent tree change. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This was broken. It actually got nerfed. This location actually got nerfed. But no big deal. The build is still the same, and even got more energy shield after the changes for some reason. Again, I'm telling you. This is where utmost intellect is right now. I got this 3 points because it provides huge intelligence, which provides energy shield actually, because intelligence provides energy shield in this game. Just check my energy shield. Bam. Huge loss. So definitely worth that 3 points. And yeah, let's just take a look at the cluster jewels. So because there are some important stuff. So the core stuff, Blanket Snow for penetration and maybe Prismatic Heart. If you think your resistances are fine, just get another one. So Blanket Snow is gonna be your core, notable on a cold cluster. These are a little expensive. I bought this for 3 Exile, as you can see. I forgot to delete the price tag. This is even a 2 notable one, by the way. If you go for 3, they are like 10 Exalt at least, because cold builds are super popular. You can maybe play with a spell damage cluster instead at start, or just get a single Blanket Snow. Do not even get Prismatic Heart. Do something like that, alright? Just come here, type Jewel, cluster, large, pick cold. Where's that? And take a look at the other ones, alright? Try to see how much DPS they provide. Maybe get a different combination for cheaper at first. But in the end, this is what I used. Blanket Snow plus Prismatic Heart. So the medium ones are actually more important. Because this build normally doesn't pierce or chain, whatever. Because it doesn't say something like that, as far as I know. I actually got some pierce for clear speed. Some people play, but they are Deadeye players, you know, squishy, Del runners. This is not the same build. They actually play with chain, but I picked pierce because it is easier to get. But if you think chain is better, you can try that. I actually tried that. I'm not sure if I have the clip still. Maybe if I even recorded that, but I actually haven't seen any difference. So one chain is actually don't do anything. You need to go for more chain actually. That's why we went for pierce, alright. Aerodynamics on medium cluster, projectile damage. Projectile pierce an additional target, speed and damage. Eye to eye, lots of damage. This provides huge DPS. So this is the combination you want for pierce. If you think one pierce is not enough, go for 2. Use another aerodynamic here. Or use something like this, streamline. Pro speed damage. And again eye to eye. Again, if you need more pierce, get the exact same one on this one. So you can pierce 2 targets. This should be better for mapping actually. But for boss killing you don't even need a pierce. But this is how to get more clear speed. This is very important. Even at a low budget, make sure you buy this cluster jewel as soon as possible because it is super cheap. No one buys these. These are like 40 chaos, 30 chaos, maybe 50 chaos with some good suffixes, cold resist, strength, whatever you can fit in. Because no one uses this, alright. And finally, what is this? Energy from Naut. This actually got nerfed, by the way. This is the new one. 70 energy shield. They actually provided 100% earlier, but they also provide recharge rate right now. So not big of a nerf actually. They provide extra stuff right now. As you can see, this was the older version before the nerf. Right now 70, but also energy shield recharge. Very nice. And this is how to get some extra energy shield. If you think your ES is fine, use a random jewel here, a cobalt maybe, with multiplier, throw speed, energy shield, those kind of stuff. But try to push that energy shield, obviously. So let's also take a look at the masteries, and that's gonna be it about this guide. So this is where we get lots of aura effect and reservation. I also put this here, you know, picked mastery. This right now doesn't work. Arrows from your skills have 15% effect on you. I edited it here. If it gets fixed soon, just delete this. This is here right now. I edited it on my own. You can actually get more damage and energy shield thanks to this mastery. Very nice. So there is a mine notable here. So we get mine mastery. Reduce damage dealt to enemies near it up to 10%. So this actually provides some defense. That's why I picked this. Another mine mastery here. This time damage taken to enemies near it. So this provides DPS actually. So you also want to get this for more DPS. We will check Watcher's Eye last. Let's just finish the masteries. I'm trying to find out if I got anything else. Alright, yeah, this one here. Finally, Energy Shield mastery. Light Radius. Light Radius is based on Energy Shield instead of life. This was normally a notable here. They removed that and put it on mastery instead. So this way you can actually see around you, you know. The screen actually doesn't get dark. Because normally we reserve all our life. That way actually, because normally light radius is based on life, in closed door maps, maps that have caves in it, you know, those kind of maps, indoor maps, they actually get dark if you have lower life. This way that light radius is based on your energy shield, so you can actually see around you, alright? If you do open layout maps or kill bosses with this character all the time, you don't need this. Just save 1 point. But if you do all kind of maps, if you enjoy indoor layout maps, you need to get this. Or you can still play, but it's gonna be very dark, alright? If you are afraid of dark, get this. That's pretty much it. Yeah, there's one more here for that sovereignty reservation. Another reservation efficiency for life. That's how you can actually reserve that life. Make sure you get this life reservation efficiency mastery. And that's all about the masteries. There are some block notes here, by the way. Block, spell, block here. So this is a block build. I tried to get as much as block as possible. Finally, Watcher's Eye. Because we are using Hatred and I wanted to push that crit strike chance, I bought something with crit strike chance affected by Hatred. You can also get Cold Penetration if that is cheaper. If you want to get a double one, I also went for some defense. That's 5 Clarity, mana as maximum, Energy Shield, for some decent Energy Shield bonus. Or you can also get something that has to do with Discipline for some extra defense or block even, because Discipline Watchers I have actually block spell, which is super nice. Or even Regeneration, Energy Shield, whatever. So Discipline modifiers are also good. But if you want if you just want to focus on DPS, let's say, Hatred plus maybe even Zealotry, because that is something else we are using. So maybe try to get some good combinations, a double Hatred plus Zealotry. We also use Precision. You can get Precision Crit Multiplier plus Hatred, but they are going to be super expensive. This one was under 10 Exalt, I believe. This is cheap for an end game build. So that's why I picked this, to have even more Energy Shield. Let's check our Energy Shield. So this jewel in the end provides some decent Energy Shield. That's pretty much it. I actually haven't checked the new Pantheons. Let's see if they have been updated. No. These are still the old ones, so not sure what I can recommend you. But most of times I play with, this one, Solaris. Because it says take no extra damage from crit strikes if you have taken a crit strike recently. I really like that, so make sure you get that upgrade. And some mitigation from other sources, so I usually play with Solaris. You can also go for Lunaris. I believe these two are better for Saboteur, this kind of build. This is probably Aberrat, because it provides unaffected by Burning Ground. I believe it still provides that, if I haven't read the patch notes wrong. So you should probably play like this for Pantheons. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like. I have other builds in my channel, or maybe I am updating them right now, uploading. Also go and check those. Thanks for watching. Yeah, I also have a Discord channel. If I haven't mentioned that, you can join there and maybe ask me questions about my earlier builds. If you have any questions, you can also support me in my Patreon for only like a couple of dollars, if you feel generous, and thanks to anyone who does that. And I will see you later. Bye bye.